give power to the social division of labor, and then you can start like planning things and moving away from a capitalist mode of production altogether. But you're not going to do that by just centrally planning stuff. Through institutions like the Communist Party of China, the state directs long-term economic and social development goals, ensuring that national priorities such as reducing inequality and achieving technological independence are collectively pursued. Look, again, like just centralizing stuff in the state, okay, and making sure that, you know, there's development goals that everyone's working towards, and that, you know, everyone's working the same priorities and stuff. That's central planning, okay. And central planning is important because it's like antithetical to the free market. So it's antithetical to this idea of the anarchy of the market, where you plan nothing and just let the market do it, and, you know, the invisible hand will come in and regulate everything. And so like exchanges will happen between two parties on an equal basis, and like, you know, the effects of production will match the needs and the requirements of the distribution process, and therefore consumption patterns in the population. That's what the free market spouts, kind of thing. But like, you know, central planning is kind of the antithesis of that. It's like, no, you know, distribution production is not just going to meet consumer demand. Let's figure out what that consumer demand is and plan towards it, and let's kind of direct our productive capacities in the right way. Let's like direct our energies, kind of thing. And central planning is like a kind of response to the anarchy of the free market, but that doesn't have anything to do with socialism. Socialism is not about central planning stuff, okay? Central planning is a feature of socialist states, and it would be a feature, I'm assuming, of some type of socialist society if we ever got there, because like you would be able to plan stuff because you don't have like the anarchy of the market. But central planning doesn't equal socialism. Like we've said before, socialism is about being like socialized production. Okay, so like a real crash course in all of this stuff, okay? When capitalism started, one of the wonders of capitalist production was the fact that like the capitalists got groups of people working together that all at one point did individual things and started a product or a commodity from start to finish, and then they introduced like a really structured and robust division of labor. Now, instead of one person basically, or one guild or group making a whole carriage from, you know, start to finish, they started getting different people from different industries and different groups and all that sort of stuff to make the seat, and then the wheels and the carriage compartment itself and the leather seats and all that sort of stuff. And when they socially divided the labor, they divided up the labor and got all of that together, it was much more efficient in terms of its productive capacity. And that's what capitalists did really well. They helped the social division of labor work together in a productive way, in a capacity that like the world had never seen before. And so capitalist production based along this social division of labor took the world by storm. But it was that social division of labor which was the force to be reckoned with, as opposed to just the fact that it was capital that was driving that. It was the profit motive that was driving it. However, it was the social production which was, or the social style, the division of labor, which was the productive apparatus there. It was just being put into motion by capital. So if we could put into motion the social division of labor without the need for capital in motion, so the profit motive, if we could just have that social division of labor without the capital part, then that's what you have in socialism. You have you have a very complex division of labor across a society, because all things are socialized now. It takes everybody in society to make everything work. And you recognize that social division of labor, and you allow all of the workers, all of the people that do all of the stuff, because of the vast and complex division of labor out there, all of those people now, because they're all contributing, they get to make decisions. They control their own workplaces because they know best. And like they come together to organize society as workers in all of this very varied and complex socially divided society that has all these different labor inputs everywhere, and they all come together and they decide on what they're going to do. And as part of that, you start planning things, and you can start making decisions about what you're going to concentrate your productive capacities on. And that's where the planning comes in. But putting the planning first and saying, oh yeah, let's just centrally plan stuff and that equals socialism is the wrong way. It's getting it in the reverse direction. You need to acknowledge the division of labor, essentially, that capitalism produces, give power to that social division of labor as opposed to the capital that puts it into motion, give power to the social division of labor, and then you can start like planning things and moving away from a capitalist mode of production altogether. But you're not going to do that by just centrally planning stuff. What centrally planning stuff is today is just outsmarting capitalism. The Chinese, very clever. They understood that the free market ethos, like just leaving it up to the invisible hand of the market, will get you so far. But like, you know, as capitalists become monopolistic and they become ridiculously power hungry and profit driven and like just, you know, can't help themselves, and they just take more and more and more, it becomes a fetter on society. It holds the society back. So they were just like, let's cancel out some of that ugly stuff in capitalism and plan the stuff we need to plan to keep our independence, and we leave the rest up to the free market. So they kind of half and half, the Chinese, and they figured it out. And so they centrally plan a free market system. That's essentially what they're doing, as opposed to centrally planning because they've socialized the division of labor and like given democratic control to all people that are involved in production in society. It's got nothing to do with that. There's a big distinction there, and I think it's worth noting. It's definitely worth noting. As long as their economy grows at 6% a year and almost everyone's life improves year over year, once that slows down, the drive for freedom will reappear across society again. I think that's a good point, and that's like what the scientific socialist kind of approach is that they're talking about. Like, you know, socialism with Chinese characteristics is like, hey, let's just focus on increasing everyone's living standards, and once the living standards are up and we're an advanced industrialized nation, the people will be able to basically demand a liberalized way of living. And so you have a more liberal approach to society now because everybody has that expectation because they've got such a high living standard and they live in such an advanced industrial nation that, like, you know, their basic needs are met anyway. So, hey, why not give them a little bit more democratic control? I think that's, you know, that makes sense in theory, doesn't it? Like, you know, that you could do that. But like, you know, the skepticism always comes in when you're thinking about, like, you know, okay, at what point do you say we've achieved that level of wealth and prosperity, and when will the party hand over control to all workers as opposed to just the workers that are associated with the party? That's the $1 trillion question. It's the $1 trillion question.
If you're the police, who will police the police?
Oh, Coast Guard.
Now, if you like this video, give it a like and a comment, and subscribe for more. Remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery. I am on Patreon. Please follow the link in the description and sign up for free. We are trying to build a revolutionary community over there. So go become a member for free and join the conversation. If you can contribute financially, that would help a lot towards making this content.